Welcome to This Horror Real.
Someone breathed from behind my bedroom door while I was sitting on my bed alone. I froze with my phone in my hand, halfway through plugging it into the charger. The apartment was quiet except for the hum of my little fan near the window. Then I heard it again. One slow breath. Not from outside, not from the hallway, not from the vent. From the other side of my bedroom door. My door was open about 3 inches. Just enough to see a thin slice of the living room light across the floor. I'd left it like that because I was only going to be home for a few minutes before taking a shower. But now that gap looked different, too dark, like something was standing close enough to block the light. I stared at the crack and didn't move. My first thought was that maybe my mind was playing tricks on me. The walls in my building were thin. I could hear cabinets close, people arguing, kids running upstairs, but this breath was inside my apartment. Then the floor creaked right outside my room. I didn't call out. That was the first thing I'm glad I didn't do. I slowly turned my phone brightness all the way down and checked the time. 9:17 p.m. My battery was at 11%, even though I could have sworn it was near 30 when I walked in. I lived alone in a one-bedroom apartment on the second floor. Nothing fancy. Brown carpet, cheap blinds, weak chain lock, old kitchen light that flickered if you turned on the microwave. The kind of place where every sound had a reason, except this one. I had come home from work, locked the deadbolt, dropped my keys in the bowl by the door, and walked straight to my bedroom. I remembered hearing the lock click because I always listened for it. So if someone was inside, they had already been inside before I got home. That thought made my stomach drop. I looked toward my closet first, closed, then toward my bathroom, door open, lights off. The bedroom door gap stayed still, but something about it felt wrong, like whoever was out there knew I was watching. I heard a soft scrape in the living room, a chair leg dragging across the kitchen tile. I knew that sound because my kitchen chair had one uneven foot. It always scratched the floor when I pulled it out. Nobody should have been touching it. I slipped off my bed as slow as I could, then crouched beside the nightstand. My phone charger was still hanging from the outlet, but I didn't plug in. I was scared any movement would tell them exactly where I was. Then my phone buzzed. Not a call. A low battery warning. The sound felt loud enough to shake the room. The breathing stopped. I held my breath too. For about 10 seconds, nothing happened. Then the bedroom door moved slightly. Not opened, not closed, just touched. The gap changed from 3 inches to maybe 4. My whole body went cold. I could see the living room carpet now and the edge of the kitchen chair. It was turned toward my bedroom, facing me. I backed up until my shoulder hit the wall. I opened my phone and started typing 911, but my hands were shaking so bad I hit the wrong numbers twice. Before I could finish, a text came through from an unknown number. Don't scream. I stared at it until the words stopped looking real. There was no way. Nobody had my number except people I knew. I didn't post it anywhere. I didn't give it to strangers, and I hadn't made a sound. Then another text came through. I'm not by the door anymore. That was when I stopped looking at the bedroom door, because the closet was behind me. I turned my head slowly, just enough to see the closet door in the corner of my eye. It was still closed, but the bottom gap was dark. Usually the closet had a little bit of light under it from the lamp near my bed. Now there was nothing under that door but shadow, like something inside was blocking it. I didn't know what to do. The front door was across the apartment. The bedroom window was painted shut from years of bad maintenance. The bathroom had no lock. My only way out was past whoever was in the living room or whatever was in my closet. Then the closet handle turned just a little. Not enough to open, just enough to show me someone had a hand on the other side. I grabbed the heaviest thing near me, which was a glass candle on my nightstand. My phone dropped to 7%. The fan kept humming like nothing was happening. The handle turned back, then stopped. I heard a whisper from inside the closet. "Why'd you come home early?" I almost dropped the candle. That was the part that made it worse. Not the whisper, not the closet. The question. I was supposed to work late that night. My shift was supposed to end at 11, but my manager sent me home early because the system went down. Whoever was in my apartment knew my schedule, and they were upset I had ruined theirs. The kitchen light flickered once. Then the living room lamp clicked off. The apartment dropped into darkness except for the weak glow from my phone screen and the little strip of street light coming through the blinds. I heard movement outside my bedroom now, slow steps, bare feet on carpet, not rushing. That scared me more. Whoever was out there didn't sound afraid. They sounded comfortable, like they had walked around my apartment plenty of times before. The closet door opened 1 inch. I saw fingers wrapped around the edge. I threw the candle as hard as I could. It hit the closet door and shattered. The door slammed shut from the impact, and something inside made a low grunt. I ran. I didn't think. I just ran straight for the bedroom door and shoved it open. The living room was empty, but my front door was wide open. The chain lock was still hanging, broken, and my keys were gone from the bowl. I ran into the hallway, barefoot, holding my dying phone. The hallway lights were on, but one of them near the stairwell was flickering. I looked left and right, expecting someone to come out after me. Nobody did. That almost made it worse. Every apartment door was closed. The building was quiet. Too quiet for a place where somebody had just broken into my home. I started banging on my neighbor's door. "Please open up. Somebody's in my apartment." No answer. I banged harder. That's when I heard my apartment door behind me slowly begin to close. Not slam, close, like someone was trying not to make noise. I turned around and saw a face in the gap. Not all of it, just one eye and part of a cheek looking at me from inside my own apartment. Then the door clicked shut. My phone hit 3%. I ran down the hall toward the stairs. The stairwell door was heavy, and when I pushed it open, the whole thing echoed. I ran down one flight, gripping the railing so I wouldn't fall. My feet slapped against the cold steps. Halfway down, I heard the stairwell door above me open, then close. I stopped breathing. There were footsteps above me now, slow, one step, then another. Whoever it was wasn't running. They knew I was trapped between floors. I kept going down, but when I reached the first floor door, it wouldn't open. I pulled harder. Nothing. The handle moved, but the door wouldn't budge. Something had been wedged on the other side. The footsteps above stopped. Then a voice said, "You forgot your shoes." It was close. Too close. I looked up through the stairwell gap and saw a hand sliding down the railing 1 floor above me, holding my keys. I kicked the first floor door until my heel burned. Finally, someone outside yelled, "Move!" The door jerked open from the other side, and the wedge fell loose. It was one of those rubber door stops from the laundry room. A man I had seen around the building stood there in gray sweatpants and a hoodie. He grabbed my arm and pulled me through. "What happened?" he asked. I told him somebody was in my apartment. He looked past me into the stairwell, then shut the door fast. "Go outside. Call police." His voice was calm. Too calm. I looked down and saw my apartment key on his keyring. Not a copy. Mine. The little red bottle opener I kept on it was hanging right there. He noticed me looking. For 1 second, his face changed. Then he smiled like we both understood something. I yanked away from him and ran for the front exit. Behind me, he said, "You shouldn't have come back upstairs alone." But I hadn't told him I lived upstairs. I made it outside and ran across the parking lot toward the street. My phone died right as I reached the sidewalk. There were cars passing, people out at the gas station across the road, normal life still moving, like mine hadn't just cracked open. I flagged down a woman getting out of her car and begged her to call 911. She locked her doors first, then saw my face and made the call. While we waited, I looked up at my building. My apartment window was dark. Then my bedroom light turned on. A shadow crossed behind the blinds. Not fast, slow, like someone was walking around looking for something. Then the light turned back off. The police came about 9 minutes later. By then, whoever was inside was gone. They searched my apartment and found the closet empty. The kitchen chair was still facing my bedroom. My broken candle was on the floor, but nothing was stolen except my spare key. The police found something I still think about. Behind my bedroom door, near the hinge, there were fresh scrape marks in the paint, like somebody had been standing there with something metal in their hand, pulling the door open just enough to watch me. They also found black smudges on the inside of my closet door, finger marks, and in the back of the closet, behind my hanging coats, there was a small empty water bottle and a folded fast food wrapper. That meant somebody had been in there longer than a few minutes, maybe hours, maybe before I even got home. The officer asked if I had any enemies. I said no. Then he asked if maintenance had been in recently. I told him maintenance had fixed my bathroom sink 2 weeks earlier. He nodded but didn't say much. That was when I remembered something. 2 weeks earlier, after maintenance left, my bedroom door had been open. I thought I'd left it that way. I hadn't. I moved out that same week. I didn't wait for the apartment office to explain anything. They told me there was no record of anyone entering my unit that day. They told me cameras in the hallway didn't work. They told me the man in gray sweatpants didn't match any tenant name they had. But I had seen him before. More than once, near the mailboxes, near the stairs, sitting in a car with the engine off. It just never registered to me he was a threat. A few days after I moved, the police returned my keys. They said someone had dropped them in the leasing office night box. No fingerprints they could use, no note, just my keys in a plain envelope. But there was one thing inside the envelope that didn't belong to me. A photo. It was blurry and dark, like it had been taken through a cracked bedroom door. It showed me sitting on my bed the night it happened, looking down at my phone, and on the back someone had written, "You looked right at me twice." If you've ever felt like something in your home was moved, watched, or touched when nobody should have been there, don't ignore that feeling. Lock your doors, check your hiding places, and pay attention to the people who know your routine. Subscribe to This Horror Real for more stories that feel too close because they could happen anywhere.